time comes, be ready. Don't you hesitate.
When the time comes, be ready. Don't you hesitate.
That's exactly the mantra that we had from Boss right there.
I think that that is a good mantra to have in mind when you're doing these finals between all of these excellent people. We've seen them go through qualifiers, heaps and heaps of teams just crumbling.
512 of them.
Just crumbling underneath the weight of these 8 Titans. Already a couple of them have succumbed to the others, but they're in the losers bracket for tomorrow. Right now, we're dealing with Boss and Ion, and in Game 1, Boss taking it in a very commanding fashion. Once they started really breaking through, they managed to continue doing so.
Sure.
And now, Game 2, we'll see if they end up doing more of the same. They're not even fully finished the draft.
Nope, they're just going to be finishing that up, and once we do have all that compiled, we will bring it live to you here as well. We've been told that after this, we will be covering 99 Cent and All-Stars. So if you are questioning, you're asking when is it, after this game series, we will go back to that. We will revisit those through replays, and we will see who are our 2 finalists that go into winners, because they will then duke out for the chance to go to Grands, and that is a secured first, second place.
Which in both cases is a significant amount of money,
Yep.
or a significant amount of money plus Steambox.
Well, let's take a quick look, although, with that prize, because we talk a lot about these prizes, and $600 cash split by 3. 3 of the Alienware Alphas, obviously split by 3. Could you imagine? 15 and 3. Everything, of course, a little bit goes to everybody, but still, $600 for a weekend's worth of work, plus, of course, the qualifier. But you also go home with this very good-looking Alienware Alpha. Now, second place, people have been asking this a lot. Why is it $900 cash? Well, because they don't get Alienware Alphas. That's basically the reason why. So we compensate that, all the cash prizes and stuff coming out of Ranamo, but of course Alienware bringing forth the chance at having one of these boxes.
Those boxes are worth a fair amount too, especially considering that the new
well,
market.
Looking at first to second, yeah.
I mean, I should hope so. I mean, they're worth quite a fair amount, so it's definitely worth it to pick one of those up if you get in first.
For sure.
But still, that's second place. And what does everybody else come home with?
Well, everyone in this qualifier, everybody in the qualifier has got a Teddy Ayla skin, but everyone that you've seen today is at least going home with 15 copies of Awesomenauts to distribute to their friends and family, and 3 skin bundles, 1 basically per
That's
person.
a lot of Awesomenauts.
It is.
That means a lot of new players, which means even potentially bigger tournaments in the
a lot of
future.
fresh meat. New players. You're quite right.
Fresh meat.
And, speaking of new players, none of them here, but we do got Game 2 ready to go. Ion and Boss. We do got the draft. Let's take a quick look. I've been told this is going to Ribbit.
And once again, we're on Ribbit, and once again, we see one particular character banned.
The Frog. The Vinny? The Swiggins, you're right.
Right, every single time. What's this Nah business doing here? So, Ion banning out Frog to start things off. Boss then countering with a Nah ban of their own. They just didn't want to deal with that scroggly little piece of annoyance.
Be kind. Be kind, Wolf.
I'm being very kind towards that Scroggle. I have nothing but ill will towards it. Anyway, Ion then going on with their first pick of the day being a Coco. That's a very familiar first pick for practically all the teams we've seen today.
True enough.
Then Boss countering with 2 picks of their own. They got Scoop and Penny. So Penny not being banned out early enough to stop the Penny coming back. Ion then countering with a pick of Ted McPain. They then ban out Vinny because they really just didn't want to deal with the flying fish. Swiggins gets banned out by Boss. Then Ion picks up a Penny of their own, and Boss picks up a Coco. So the big difference here being the Scoop and the Ted. Otherwise, it's a mirror match with Penny and Coco.
And we've been seeing a lot of this.
Yeah.
This is a very Ion lineup. I mean, we just saw this. In their first game series of today, they had this comp, and they brought it out to a win in game number 3. We just saw, who was it? All-Stars and Ape? No, 99 Cent and Ape.
Yep.
And 99 Cent had this exact same comp as well. It's on Ribbit with that vertical controlling factor of Ted. Like, a lot of Ribbit is very dependent upon how you get from the top lane to the bottom. You got to go through the jungle, or you got to go all the way around. If you go through the jungle, it's quicker. You control the jungle, you're going to have a bad time. So, yeah, having a Ted on this with that Penny, with that Coco, I foresee big bursts coming out from them.
Absolutely. But Boss is going to be ready and waiting for it. They've got a Scoop of their own, and that's going to provide a lot of long-range harassment. They're going to opt to not even be near those hammers if at all possible. Couple that with Kirby Derby's Penny that we've seen in the past do excellent work, as well as Cannoli's Coco again.
Not on Penny?
That's a good point. We have seen Kirby Derby on other knots, but I just don't remember what they are.
Me neither.
So as things start up here, Boss versus Ion. Ion sporting Coco, Ted, and Penny. Boss sporting Coco, Penny, and Scoop. Who's going to win? Is it going to be the spoon, or is it going to be the shotgun? Rested Robbie playing your Foxy on Team Ion. Natapop playing your Coco. And finally, G-Dove playing your Ted McPain. On the blue team, Cannoli, TM, Trademark, going to be able to play your Boss's Coco. On the Scoop, we've got Bad Joe on the Bad Joe Factor. And then finally, Kirby Derby doing his business on the Foxy. So this is going to end up being a very good game here. Can Ion win this and bring this to a 1-1 series, or is Boss going to take this 2-0 to put themselves into a chance at the grand finals?
Well, they've done it before, but G-Dove, when he had to go big, he went big with the Vinny. I have big expectations for him here as well, but again, like, it's all about this vertical shaft right here. Airstrikes for days. We're going to have people really just looking to, you know, bomb right through it. We're going to have a lot of vertical movement. You come up here with a snipe hammer, just like that. You come up here with a snipe Coco Ball. That can really actually catch a lot of teams off guard. We got no Raylins, no wards, no mines, but a lot of burst damage. As you can now see, left-hand side, Ion, their hit points not looking so hot after a little bit of that, but neither here is Bad Joe. He's going to get some jungle creeps, but we still got people here on the prowl for Ion. They're looking for that first blood, and they're actually going to grab it on top of Cannoli. It was Robbie actually picking up that with a pulse, as we had a Coco looking for safety on the vertical shaft.
That was a very interesting batch of fighting that went on there. I was just surprised to see so much stuff just happening all the time. It was just constant action in that first minute and 30 seconds, resulting in that very first kill of the game. But it is by no means the only important kill of the game, although that puts Ion ahead. Boss by no means going to go ahead and bow to that pressure. Not quite yet, but we talked about this before. They've got a greedy lineup, but this greedy lineup that they're making work. Bad Joe picking up a sword kill onto Rested Robbie. Now G-Dove taking a lot of damage.
Oh,
He's gonna
the ball at the end.
But Natapop going to pick off Cannoli on the backside there. That was a really well-hit ball. So down he goes, 2-1 now in favor of Team Ion against Team Boss here in this second game in this best of 3.
Kills, kills, and kills right out the bat. We're 3 kills and 2.5 minutes in. These guys are chomping at the bit. They're looking for that dominance. Whoever can control the mid and get a little bit more tower pressure going their way could actually be a really good snowball. And going from the way of Ion, as long as they keep G-Dove up, he's going to repay them with that machine gun. Range, damage. You put some creeps in front of them, and we've seen this time and again, the structures are going to start melting.
Absolutely, machine gun very good for that. Bad Joe coming in with the bindings. Bindings only going to poke a little bit. They don't do a lot of damage. That shotgun, on the other hand, does. Out comes the lightning ball. It's not going to end up hitting anybody. Bad Joe and G-Dove now having a bit of a duel in the middle there. Out comes the hammer. It's going to hit G-Dove right at the end of it, so it's going to deal this amount of damage. Out come the bindings. The bindings are enough to take out G-Dove as he gets knocked back into the rest of the blue team. So that's going to be a good pickoff. Now tied up 2-2 between Ion and Boss.
Now, we've seen this before, time and again. Bad Joe doesn't play a defensive or a passive Scoop. He gets in there with those bindings, with that hammer, and he sets up for the rest of the burst on his team to go to town. Curb Derb now on the wrong side of this Solar Boss, but the Solar Boss ain't looking his way, and he's going to be able to float on out of that one relatively unscathed, just a little bit under half health as the rest of the team Cannoli there, and he's going to be coming down into the bottom, and Bad Joe goes immediately right back up top. What did G-Dove get in the back of that death?
He ended up picking up 1 rank of regen and 2 ranks of that machine gun damage. So that machine gun and his shotgun now dealing a fair amount of damage.
Yep.
But it's not going to be enough all on its own. He still has to deal with mobility issues, and he has to be able to sit in the back safely to be able to use those gun attacks, lest he get too close and get Kirby derved into oblivion. Bad Joe going in with those bindings. That's something to keep in mind. I think that that's a really good point that you brought up. Every time Bad Joe uses those bindings, he moves forward to try to hit people with it as well, creating as much of an HP difference between him and the enemy team as possible.
It's the same as a Purple Heart Swiggins.
It's the same as a Purple Heart Swiggins, but
without the CC.
Well, yeah, without the CC, but at the same time, it's kind of like being able to walk into a fight with Clunk and with a bite, and every time hitting an enemy knot with the bite, multiple enemy knots if at all possible, without fail, just trying to go in it for as much HP difference as possible. That's a really good use of bindings, not just for the heal, but reminder, it does have damage. And Bad Joe doing his best to harass with it, considering how long range it is. The binding's going to come out, 330 damage going to end up hitting. Now, you got Rested Robbie running for his life. Kirby Derby could probably chase, but he goes back to try to support his friends instead. Pulse goes off on G-Dub. G-Dub going to be able to get out of there. Natapop going to eat a lightning bolt to the face. Out comes the hammer. It's going to end up hitting the turret. Now the Pulse comes out. It's going to hit G-Dub again, and he's going to have to go back home. Although the Binding's going to send him, going to have to force him to wait a little while longer before heading home. Or he decides to stay around. He's got his machine gun. He puts out the airstrike. It's going to end up hitting nobody, unfortunately. And that's going to be that. So far, 2-2 in this game. Between these two teams.
Yeah, that's so again, like you hit these jumpers and you come up and all of a sudden you got a skill shot now on the board, and sometimes you just can't avoid it. It's just right there in your face. You weren't expecting it. No reaction time whatsoever. That was exactly what one of those Cocoa Balls were right there. Rosty's going to have to just kind of run a little bit out of that one. Too low on the hit points to kind of re-engage, but we got a full complement of hit points here on blue. Badjo has not left. He does his shopping like once a week or so, and apparently Curb Derb on the back of that is just going to kill Robbie. But yeah, Badjo, he's just always in this top lane. Tower damage, not so much going either way, but he's always up here. He's always just pushing it back out. He's setting up, trying to set up for these top, and that let enough space for Kirby to get the kill bottom.
And one thing to keep in mind with all this is just how aggressive the entirety of the blue team, Team Boss, is playing. Every time that they can get an ability off to poke behind walls or turrets, they do that. They are constantly harassing, constantly dealing damage, even when it's maybe a bit risky to do so. But it's paying off in spades as they do this, and it's proving really painful for Team Ion, who's having a hard time keeping up on damage. Out comes the Bindings. It's going to hit all three members of Team Ion. Like, I have not seen Scoop play be this aggressive. Every 12 seconds, out comes the Bindings. Out comes another 330 damage. It's really aggravating if you're on the other team right now.
Well, you just got to try to play it from range. Oh, well, only Ted can do that.
Yeah.
You got to deal with him. He was a last pickup Scoop here.
Yeah, last pickup Scoop. And Scoop proving to be one of the more popular knots in this tournament and all the qualifiers leading up to it as well. It's been really cool to see this brand new character just come into his own into this tournament right out of the gate. Teams feeling confident playing him as soon as they possibly could. So that's really cool to see. I really enjoy that personally.
Badjo's going to get himself a little bit of 500 here, and he's done a little bit of shopping of his own. That hammer just goes right down on top of G-Dog. That actually could lead into a kill, but there's nobody chasing. No, Kirby and crew, they're going to go on top of Robbie instead, and that's actually going to be a trade-off now. 1-for-1. G-Dog and Natapop not looking so healthy, but at the end of the day, they were able to get themselves a return kill. So it's going to be a 2-on-1, but G-Dog, oh, is he taken down? He's not. In fact, it was going to be a Cocoa Ball that threw the Fox into the turret, and mincemeat occurred.
And that's going to tie it up 4-4, 8 minutes into this game. Both teams doing their best to stay on top of it. The solar difference, very small between the two of them. Right now, the most significant difference you can see is between the Scoop and the Ted, as they are both the front runners for their respective teams. It's about a difference of almost 100 solar, so it's very close right now. Ted now sporting machine gun range and maxed out gun damage. Scoop still has just Twisted Lance alongside his Bindings damage. He's gonna end up, yeah, he's going to end up healing himself there. G-Dove taking a Cocoa Ball to the face. But yeah, there's that. And then on the red team, you've also got Knockback Ball on the on Natapop's Coco. You have 2 ranks of Bug Jars on to Rester Robbie's Pulse. And then you on Kirby Derby, same sort of build, just has boots on top of Rester Robbie's build. And then the Coco going for left click has both ranks in Conductor as she attempts to get some of that early game farm and long range poking ability that allows her left click to now have.
That's what Cannoli likes to do. That's how he builds his Coco.
That's how we do.
Yep. Now on the flip side again, this is actually a first. We're having Natapop deviate from the ball builder slightly with a Chuck's board instead.
Which I think against this lineup is a really good move. You have 3 melee characters. Using Blaze to the best effect is best used against 3 melee characters who need to get close in order to do damage. But we mentioned this before, Boss knows how to get these melee characters to almost play like ranged ones. And
yep, that's what they did game number 1.
Yeah, and that seems to be what they're continuing to do. Out comes the Lightning Ball.
Wow.
What? G-Dove is... He better be counting his lucky stars.
Got to be counting his hairs.
Exactly, because there are less than 2 of them left that aren't singed. So that happens. Rester Robbie takes a lightning ball to the faces. Noli and Badjo now doing some damage to his top tower. It's now down to half. Ion looking to try to start wresting control of this game. They're currently pretty much equal with Boss. The 2 teams bouncing off of each other in fairly equal fashion. But objectively speaking, Ion's still sort of in the lead in terms of tower HP.
Yeah, the tower HP is just still firmly here with the boss. And again, I got to give it to those superconductors. Robbie going to be a little bit low off the back of that, but Blaze has stopped ticking down. Joe and Cannoli look like they're going to be okay as well. Not a pop with the ball, does not hit the curb, and is actually just going to force the curb back for now. So not going to be any kills, but if we can set up a position here for some damage, we can get Dove. G-Dove there doing a little bit more tower. Now top, it's actually swinging the way of Ion, but bottom, actually the bottom is swinging the way of Ion as well, believe it or not.
Yeah, then that's the more visible difference between
we
the two
missed
as
a poke
well.
a little bit there.
Yeah, they've been pretty much keeping constantly on top of that, doing their best to push it out as often as possible. G-Dove now maybe in a bit of a rough spot depending on where the blue team is, but they're nowhere near, so never mind. Bad Joe going to pick up a random creep kill off the back of that as well, so he's going to be fairly healthy after picking up 550 HP's worth of stuff off of that binding. So that's the other thing the Scoop has is a lot of sustain. So despite the fact that both teams are fairly good at poking, Bad Joe able to just come back out of it and be, yep, I'm still in the lane, I'm still farming, and I'm still alive and ice creaming as best as possible. He doesn't have legs to kick with. So.
No, not this pistachio night, no. 4-4, 11 minutes in, a little less than a kill a minute, a little bit slower in terms of kills than what we're used to, but it's very interesting to see the footsies going back and forth. Footsie's not doing G-Dove worth anything there. That's going to be actually a double kill. Hammer not going to be able to take home Nada, but at the same time, Nada Pop was able to grab the Coco counterpart, so it was a 2-for-1 by the end of it all. Joe and Curb Derb, though, they do have some opportunity here to land some tower damage, but without the Coco, it's not going to be as fast as you would have expected.
No, but they are going to equalize, if not start winning this bottom turret amount of damage. They've now equalized it, so that's always good. The top tower now equalized as well. Currently 5-6 in favor of Team Boss. 12 minutes into this game. The solar advantage now going in favor of Boss by a couple hundred solar, but not by enough to really wrest control of this game entirely.
It's like an item, maybe an item and a half worth.
Exactly, and so far they're doing really well. They're going to take out the solar boss as well, using teamwork to do so. So that'll be another 20 solar in each of their pockets. That's another 60 solar for the team, which is very good for them. Binding's coming out, hitting all three members of Team Ion in some way, shape, or form. Bad Joe now fairly low, but worth the time spent.
Oh, G-Dove, okay. Gets off the jump and right over that hammer that he goes. And he's actually going to turn his attention to the solar boss, which is not a terrible idea. Airstrike, and he gets the health out of it as well. So equalized a little bit there on top of the global solar that is going into the pockets of everyone. But it does look like some shopping sprees. And woo, look at Blue picking up double ranks of stuff.
It's an impressive amount of stuff, I suppose. But, oh, it turns out to be real. G-Dove going to get picked off on the back of that due to a hammer. Cannoli really low, though. It seemed like it was very close to being an exchange, but no dice.
Yeah, no dice. 1-0. So those upgrades that Blue just picked up had to have been a big factor in that.
I should think so. They picked up range and more damage on the pulse. Chuck's board now maxed out on Cannoli's Coco. And
both Cocos.
Yeah, that's true.
Both Canocos.
Both Canocos.
The Cannoli Coco. The Canoco.
The Canoco. Welcome to Austin Cove, where we sell the Canoco. Limited time offer comes with a karate chop action. But on the back of that also, Bad Joe has 1 rank in cooldown, 2 ranks in damage on his hammer. So that hammer now proving to be a powerful sniping tool, as well as the CC initiation that his team wants and hopefully deserves.
Right.
Now comes the bindings. It's going to hit all 3 of them. That's a lot of damage. In comes the pulse and the ball. But that's not going to be enough. That's actually a complete reversal of what I thought would happen. G-Dove going to pick up a kill as well, and now it's just Bad Joe, the only one left alive. But Resty Robbie going to pick that up, and that's going to be a 3-for-1 exchange in favor of Team Ion. Team Ion now bringing it back to 8-8. The solar advantage not nearly as large as it once was, but still present and accounted for. They're going to do their best to try to deal with all of these droids. And they're going to end up taking out that top turret as well. Scoop going to finish off his hammer build. Now has both ranks of cooldown and all the ranks of damage on it. Bad Joe aiming to go for that super hammer build. And now aiming to pick up this bottom turret as well, which they will probably pick up, but at what cost is the question. Cannoli taking some damage, and that bottom turret might end up going down here. Cannoli going to pick up that extra solar. But still, that's another turret down. And a wide open jungle for the red team to be able to pick up and use as they see fit.
It's still anybody's game, which is what it comes down to. I mean, the double shotgun kill in that fight from G-Dove was absolutely spectacular, as we see a second solar boss go down on the edge of the screen. And that really did lead us into, the scoop. He really did chase. He wanted to make sure that, those deaths didn't go in vain. And, it was a low hit point G-Dove as well, but the mobility of the Penny, the ball damage, and the range of it here on the Coco, well, it led us into, I think, our first team wipe.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was funny was just how well Boss started up that fight and how badly it turned out for them. Cannoli now taking the left click. He's going to end up going down. Now you got Natapop trying to run away from Bad Joe, and Kirby Derby trying to come around the side. He's going to pick up a couple combo points, but
he's going to live.
He's going to attempt to live, and that pulse is going to come out, but not where you want it to. Now, G-Dub taking a lot of damage from the scoop. The scoop going to back off because he knows that he might get flanked out by Natapop. Natapop taking a bunch of damage, but close range hammer, not nearly as damaging as a long range hammer. So Natapop will end up being fine. Now 9-8 in favor of Team Ion. 15 minutes, 45 seconds into this game. They also have control of the turrets and of the jungle. So Ion looking really good in this game 2 in this best of 3. They are looking to tie this up.
Doth my eyes deceive me, Wolf? Do we actually have a solar advantage for Ion?
We do, though it is slight, if at all. Down
yeah, if at all now.
Yeah, if at all, especially now that there's another 130 solar in the pocket of Team Boss. But Ted goes down. That was unfortunate for them. Tying it up 9-9. By no means is Boss out of this, but Ion much more alive and kicking than they used to be. Lots of damage coming out onto Kirby Derby as well on the back end of that. So right now, things are looking really good for both teams. Like they're still vying for supremacy. They're both still very much in the running. Yep. And this is a really close game.
Bad Joe got hit by that pulse at the end of it all. 9-9, 16 minutes, and I'm not saying either way whichever this is going to go. It is a two-turret advantage, so in terms of solar, yeah, it's going back and forth. It's damn close, though, I'll tell you that. 9-9 apiece. G-Dove is going to take a lot of spam right there. He doesn't have any hamburger phones to help him out, and neither does Robbie here. Robbie's actually going to take a good beating, but he's just going to go right over here to our favorite solar boss and decides, no, that's not worth. Got a team. Team's gotten beat up a little bit. You can see Natapop not looking so healthy. Tower at the end of it, going down to a hammer from Bad Joe.
Yeah, really well-timed Bad Joe hammer going to pick up that last hit on the turret. So that's going to be some extra solar in his pocket, which he can use to now buy up 2 rounds of Spoon Man. So as long as he's with his friends, he's doing even more hammer damage. It's a significant amount too. Out comes the bindings as well, which also do more damage. That Spoon Man upgrade, very powerful, 10% increase to all damage so long as he's near his buddies. And he's using it really well right now. But all things considered, now the objectives are tied up. What's interesting is the kill scores here. You've got Natapop with 5-0. He's got all the kills for the red team, whereas on the blue team, Bad Joe picking up all the kills.
Snipe Hammer, man.
Yeah, Snipe Hammer is really real. So are the bindings.
Yeah. No, the bindings have done good. A lot of hero damage going away. A lot of not damage over time because of the triple nature of it all. But again, like the hammers, they've been pushing out the waves. It got a tower kill. And at the same time, it's a great CC that leads into basically most of the kills, I would say, here from Boss. A lot of that is built upon the hammer that he spams.
Yeah, and that's how the Scoop do. He does his best to just be a menace, be a target. But when he's not being a menace and a target, he's starting fights up for his friends. And out comes the bindings. It's going to hit Rest of Robbie now down to about 2/3. The hammer going to come out. It's going to end up missing. Kirby Derby now looking to get out of here, taking a little bit of damage as well. But it's just going to get knocked back. And the team seems to be just bouncing off of one another. No one going to really commit to try to go for a kill at this point due to potential comeback out of either team, really.
Yeah, we're not seeing greedy plays. We're seeing very safe play from both sides. And yeah, in terms of Boss, if they play it safe, they're going to mitigate the chances that they actually throw it and they have to go to a game 3. But on the flip side, if Ion's playing it safe, well, I'm not too sure they have enough of an advantage to kind of passively play this out, because one mistake late game on a passive play means you're going to be paying pretty hard.
Absolutely. So not that either team is playing unsafe, but they are both playing aggressive. They're both trying to do their best to find kills and find damage on either one of on any of their opponents that they can see. And their upgrades seem to be reflecting that. You got the piercing upgrade on G-Dove. He's also going for the damage on Airstrike. It's going to end up hitting 2 people there for 610 damage. Bad Joe and Kirby Derby quite low. Natapop also taking a lot of damage. He's going to end up getting sandwiched, but not before he puts out the blaze. Will it be enough to get a kill onto Cannoli, though, is the question. And it seems like the answer is going to be no. So that's going to be a 1-for-0 pickoff at the very least. Now G-Dove running for his life. He needs to be very careful.
Low hit points abound, but it's by the end of it all, it's going to be one dead Ion team member here as Boss now takes a 2v3 advantage. But towers are down from both sides. It's all the rank 1s, or all the tier 1s are now done, but Cannoli and Bad Joe, they want to start racking up the next tier. They're going to have to start pushing out some of these waves, and it doesn't look like it's going to be in the cards. Instead, we're just going to go and spend some solar, because I'd rather have the solar in terms of items rather than the solar burning a hole in my pocket.
Yeah, and that's a fact for pretty much any character you're going to play. Solar is useless unless you spend it, so Kirby Derby going to take a 610 damage airstrike.
Or your Vinny.
Or your Vinny, with 150 solar specifically for your bag full of goldfish tags.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, and, you know, 300 or so solar to get 150 damage that works on everybody isn't the worst. 610 damage hitting Bad Joe. Bad Joe's going to try to toss out a hammer, but no such luck. So Bad Joe on the back end, he ended up picking up 1 rank of Banner of the Triple Scoop. He now has damage over time on his bindings. If he gets too close to people, that's fairly painful to say the least.
Yep.
Out comes a pulse from Rusty Robbie. Bad Joe tossing out a hammer. G-Dub and a good chunk of Ion going to eat that. They're going to be fine though, and they're just going to back off and clear out the lanes that they are that are pushed in. Rusty Robbie going to eat a hammer and then a lightning ball though, so he ends up going down. Now Natapop in a rough spot. Potentially as Bad Joe comes in with a hammer, it's going to be enough to land it. Left click out of Cannoli is going to end up securing it. So that's now 9-12 in favor of Team Boss. G-Dub looking to defend this as best as he can against this team, but he's got his work cut out for him.
Quite right, sir. Quite right. With a 2v1, it's 3v1. It's not really going to go as he really expects. He is going to land the airstrike there on top of Cannoli, but they just farm out the jungle, and now they're splitting up and going to the bottom lane. That's going to be a ball to the face after a pulse. So G-Dub not really looking so hot. Ooh, the hammer. Almost taking him to town. Still not really as much tower damage happening as you might expect. The rest of Ion is now down on the floor, and there's only 3 kills between these teams. It can still go either way, especially since we do have both of the first tier towers down for both Boss and Ion. Whoever again gets like a bit more of an overwhelming advantage can really start leading into a pathway to the core.
And I agree completely. One of the things that they definitely need a little bit more of, though, is that left-click craziness. Out comes the bindings. It's going to end up hitting everybody on Ion. Bad Joe going to eat a lot of damage in return, but he's a scoop. He's got a lot of damage. He's okay.
We got a pet rock on Robbie, don't we?
We do have a pet rock. Two ranks of it, to be precise. Whereas on the other end, Kirby Derby going for that pounce damage instead. So their builds have now differentiated. Kirby Derby going for that pounce finishing kind of move. Damage. Out comes the bindings. It's not going to end up hitting the penny on the other team there. Rusty Robbie going to end up being a perfectly healthy Fox for now. But right as things go, neither team really going for a lot of left click. Out comes the bindings. Rusty Robbie taking a little bit of sword damage. Just one more left click out of Bad Joe would be enough to really clinch it. Out comes the hammer instead. So he gets squashed. Whack-a-Fox instead of the traditional whack-a-mole, going to prove to be the game of the evening here. Bad Joe now maybe in a bit of a bad spot. He gets shotgunned. Ice Cream not exactly dealing very well with lead. In fact, probably very allergic to it. Cannoli very low now, as is G-Dub. But G-Dub will walk away and will be a happy camper. Now, Kirby Derby going to eat a little bit of Solar Boss damage and just walk out. But she's got 2 ranks in pills. At least 1 rank in pills, sorry. My bad. No, wait, that is 2. I missed that. But, yeah, lots of HP. Going to be fine. That's what I meant.
Okay.
I was looking at the wrong one and then saw the right one. And anyway.
Yep, fun times with mirrors.
Yep.
So on the back of that, 2 kills for 1 by the end of it. We actually had, I think Natapop was the only survivor for his team on that one. We're looking at Cannoli. Cannoli looks like he's going to be all right. He did survive the last fight, skin of his teeth. There was just not enough blaze damage on the board. And now Robbie, he's getting hunted down. Bad Joe with the hammer is not going to be able to hit the floaty fox, as she does just kind of sit above that damage range. And we'll survive to see another day. It was a little bit of an odd chase a little bit before there with Robbie. I mean, he decided, all right, I'm going to attack in. He missed out. And then he kind of ran the totally wrong way. Either forgot which way he was going or saw something that didn't agree with him. Either way, the cooldown came up. Hammer took home the kill. Bad Joe sitting at 6-2. And the binding build, man, I'm definitely becoming a fan of it.
It's certainly working out. And the Idol of the Ice Queen proving to be a very powerful upgrade. Using it the same way that you would use tweeters on Frog to kind of start up a fight. Hitting people with the end damage of it as you're charging it up is a very powerful way of doing things, it seems. But These two teams currently evenly matched despite the score difference, and the solar difference between the two is relatively the same. Boss still ahead by several hundred solar at least, but not by that much. Lots of damage coming out right now onto both Bad Joe and onto Curb Derb. Out comes the Pulse though. G-Dub going to eat that. He's extremely vulnerable right now to a kill. Bad Joe going to toss out his hammer. G-Dub now running away as fast as he can. Rusty Robbie going to take a bindings. A lot of other damage, but he's going to end up surviving. G-Dub now doing as much as he can. Bad Joe very low. He's not going to get hit by that airstrike. Not at all, mind you, but he is going to have to head all the way home, as will probably Kirby Derby.
And the teams, as you say, bounce off each other. No kills going either way. A lot of low hit points across the board. It almost looks like we kind of hit a stall. Both teams are now powerful enough that they're not getting bursted down by each other. We have a lot of pills now on the board. In fact, everyone has at least double, if not triple rank. And that's leading us into a little bit more of a prolonged teamfight situation. The burst is just not enough anymore with his hit points, but Bad Joe, of course, is just going to make me look silly by just jumping in and bursting people down. But either way, I mean, we haven't seen big tower damage, big pushes, or decisive team fights in a while, as G-Dove is trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. Robbie's going to be okay out of that as well. The only casualty will be Nadapov, and Joe's just going to go right back to pushing the lane. Maybe now we can actually start seeing a little bit, but we don't have a tower pushing team. Like, it's slow and steady to win this race.
Absolutely. There's no left click. Even with all the ganking, there's still plenty left on both teams. It should any one of them go down, that they can push out those lanes and they can keep their towers safe. In this case, Ion,
down to Cannoli.
Yeah,
really.
it's down to Cannoli, really, who can really do that. Pulse does a really good job of wiping lanes as well, but right now, things looking to be still very much even, despite how well everything seems to be going for Boss. The poke damage that they can put out is quite high. Banner the triple scoop finished up for Bad Joe. He now has all 3 ranks of that. On the TED, we have all the ranks of the solid damage and the dot damage coming up for Airstrike. So Airstrike doing max damage now. It's very painful if it ends up hitting. But again, it's an if. Airstrike very easy to dodge now that everyone's fairly mobile and there's lots of room and space to move around with.
It's been fairly easy to dodge all game, I want to say. About maybe, I would say actually less than half have really hit. It's not exactly a good sniping percentage, whereas, Bad Joe and his hammers, he's been hitting them a lot. Cannoli's going to actually get blasted forward. G-Dov's going to be coming down from above with that shotgun, able to take home that kill. Penny is now dealing out with Nadapop, but neither of them are really super low, so it's not going to be any kind of big kills. And now we do got that return kill. The kills from Ion are coming out few and far between, but now they have a good opportunity to let G-Dov just rip into a tower.
Yeah, and if there's one thing Ion does have over Boss is that they have a lot more push. But in comes Kirby Derby. He's looking to get the pounce. He's going to succeed. G-Dub and Nadapop both very low. But will it be enough is the question, and it doesn't look like it's going to be. G-Dub now very low. He's at a sliver of HP. He's just going to survive. Bad Joe's going to eat that airstrike and then burn to death between the blaze and the airstrike damage. Now, Kirby Derby on the run, just trying not to die to lightning balls or pulses. And so far, no deaths, but outside of the Bad Joe, unfortunately.
Well, they're looking for it, not without trying. But again, they get the kill. That's going to be a 2v3 situation. Nadapop has himself that superconductor. Ted has himself that machine gun. They can make a good case here. Guard out that little exit and get themselves a tower. But unfortunately, a little bit of a crossfire. Robbie's actually going to be the one that goes down. Shotgun's going to come out big. And at the same time, it looks like Nadapop is able to take home Kirby Derb. That shotgun is really becoming the bane of the Coco and Penny combo.
It certainly does hurt that airstrike hit both of them as they try to get those kills. The greed was real on Team Boss there, as 690 damage airstrikes coupled with the extra burn damage that the Ninja glow stick upgrade does. It's not exactly a fun experience to be on the receiving end of that. Ted proving to be a very powerful pickup in this game
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah.
He's now going to do a lot of push damage. He's about the only good pusher in this game, as Bad Joe taking about a third of his HP just off of the airstrike alone.
I could have sworn it was going to be top tower that goes down first, but we're making a really good case. Ion could go either way at this point. One more kill for them, putting Boss at a 2v3. They're going to open themselves up to core.
Yeah,
well, not if they do that.
Yeah, G-Dub going to get picked off there as he bounces up and gets bounced into
Nice
death.
ball.
Kirby Derby maybe put in the wrong spot, but nope, does not care. Will get that pounce kill. Now Rusty Robbie, the only one left alive. out comes a Pulse, and that's going to end up being your 3-man wipe for the evening, ladies and gentlemen, in this game, as the bottom turret goes down in favor of Team Boss as they move into the 30-minute mark of this game.
Yeah, 30-minute mark, and all that talk here about Ion pushing in. One more mistake here from Boss, and it's going to be flipped right on top of them. They're still on their way down. Ted is now on the floor, but that is not nearly going to be enough, and this core is going to drop. Congratulations to Team Boss. They are our first winner bracket finalists, as they now have to await the winners of 99 Cent and All-Star. But 2-0 over top of Ion. You know, I was really looking at Ion, and they're saying, you know, we're coming back. They're doing great kills. They're making 2v3 situations. They're allowing Ted to rip into these towers. Things are good. And then they lost
messed
time.
up. Yeah, then they got caught out. G-Dove going down to a really good collapse out of Boss, and then Boss just continuing to chase and chase and chase. And
yeah.
Down goes one, down goes the other. 3-man wipe at that stage, at that late stage of the game will end up costing you at least a turret, if not the game in this case.
That's how Ape won repeatedly.
Oh, yeah.
That's how they got here. I mean, they were down and down and down. 3-man team wipe. Bam, done. Game over.
Otherwise, completely equal game. That's all it took to break the camel's back.
Yeah.
In the Ape games in particular, they had to do that a couple of times to end up winning because they were behind by enough that they were down to the last ranking turrets, and they had all these other turrets for the other team. But in this case, completely equal. Just ended up being game over right there. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that Ion is out of this yet. They can. They're still sitting where they're sitting. They can go ahead and compete in the losers bracket. See if they can't make it back up into this Boss matchup. But as things stand right now, Boss moving on to whoever wins out of All-Stars and 99 Cents, the two current favorites in the straw poll.
Yeah, number 1 and number 2. People really like these guys. And again, like we talked about, it's like the first old versus old.
Yeah, that's true. They have a lot of
although I can't say
people.
first anymore because we just did this one. Yeah, it's most of our young blood that came into these top finals. It was 4 and 4. They're down in the lower bracket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
something to be said for the wisdom of age.
Something to be said for the wisdom of practice.
That too.
Yeah. So as we move on, 99 Cents and All-Stars are our next matchup.
Yeah, well, it is our last semis, which will lead us into a victor, which will then lead us into a best-of-3 winners, and the winner of that is a guaranteed top 2 performer here at the Alienware Awesome Cup.
So people fighting for a decent prize pool, to say the least, at this point.
Yes, for sure.
They're going in for the whole full Monty, and it's definitely worth fighting for it. I'm excited. I bet that these teams are feeling a lot of pressure right now to perform as best as they can.
I would.
Yeah, I would too. I'd be sweating bullets.
Well, and